Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We are back at it with another episode of Mando Chat. If you guys haven't already seen this latest episode, we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 3, the Heiress. So spoiler warning, consider yourself warned. And I am joined today by Biggs from Steel Strategy. Biggs, how are you today?
Doing good, doing good. What a day! What a day it has been.
It's been quite a day. Yeah. We
Heck of
were
a. Mhm.
we were thinking about like, hey, we're just going to be talking about the Mandalorian today, and we certainly are. But we have to, I think there's a couple of elephants in the living room we kind of have to talk about a little bit, right?
Yeah. Armada news and also Armada news, and
Yeah. Started out really exciting because we got like an Armada article, and you guys you do a little bit of Armada, right? So we might have some people watching.
Just a skosh, just a tad.
So before we get into like some of the crazy stuff, if anybody is watching is not familiar with Steel Strategy, and I know you guys have a blog and a podcast, and I've listened to your podcast before. Yeah,
we're more the podcast than the blog right now. Little bits of streaming squadrons here and there, and some other games, but mostly the podcast these days. We might hit the blog hard again once Wave 9 finally does drop. I know we've been kind of banking some articles of things that we know already for when the game finally comes out. Yeah, there's no sense in writing here's how the Muni flies when the Muni's not even seen the table yet.
Yeah.
But
you want people to have it in their hands, so then they can say, like, all right, now what can I do with this? And here's a good reference point.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I do like the podcast. This is actually not the first time you've been on, but this is the first time you've been on for a Mando chat.
For Mando chat, yes.
So I thank you for setting some time aside tonight.
And if you're a fan of the podcast, keep your eye out because we're going to be doing separatist spoiler chat podcast episode. We're going to be recording that very shortly.
Okay, excellent. We'll keep our ears peeled for that. And then in more Armada news too, we found out that if I wanted to be a spoiler headline like I did earlier today, say FFG loses all of its Star Wars miniatures games.
We don't have nearly a protocol for a crisis this marvelous.
I'm not even drinking, and you made me laugh like as if I was a drunk laugh. Like that's maybe it's just that how crazy.
I'm proud of that one.
Really
but
good.
All the FFG miniature line handed over to a different Asmodee umbrella subsidiary of Atomic Mass Games, who's most and only famous for Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is admittedly pretty good.
I enjoy it. I've been doing. I think I've picked up every expansion that's come out so far, and I just got caught up with painting. But they release them at rocket speed. Do you think that Armada is going to have rocket speed? 4 new ships every single month for the rest of eternity.
That seems unlikely, but maybe we can pick up the pace a little bit. I know with the Clone Wars, we've got a decent depth to plumb in terms of what we can release. Either maybe re-releases of some things that we've already got with a new skin over top of it.
Yeah.
Maybe some brand new stuff that we've seen within the Clone Wars. There's some great options. We might be able to hit up some new Rebels or Imperials to keep that side of things fresh. We've got
there's options.
Armada is in a good place, and I prefer to be, we'll just say, cautiously optimistic.
I think that's the best we can be right now. It's a scary time when you hear that everything is changing, but at the same time, really nothing should change. Because our boxes are going to say Atomic Mass Games on the back instead of Fantasy Flight Games. All right, that's all we really know for right now.
For the vast majority of us, yes, that's going to be all the changes. Some of us are worried or concerned about some of our professional acquaintances that are within FFG and what's going on with them. And
a lot of us know people.
We're hoping the best for them.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm a little, and this sounds selfish, but like I'm also certainly curious because I have a lot of contacts and hoping for continued good warm relationship in the future. We got a super chat from Bleed Green Productions. Thank you for the support, Bleed Green. Thank you guys very much. And Bleed Green says, Ahsoka. Yes, that's kind of a good kind of segue to kind of maybe move into the episode because Ahsoka get name dropped in this episode today, so which is really exciting.
Get hyped.
There's a lot of hype. What did you think of this episode overall?
The Ahsoka name drop wasn't the most dramatic drops this episode. This is all that there is to it. It's an episode for the Star Wars fan in a series for the Star Wars fan.
I think this was easily my favorite episode that they've done altogether. I've heard a couple other people say that. I'm going to tell you, like, I was watching this episode and there were, I got teary-eyed, not out of weepiness, but out of hype. It's rare, and I get hyped a lot, but it's rare that I get hyped up to the point where my emotions like bubble over and come out my eye holes in little these sweaty wet things, and they're just dripping down my face. Like it was excitement, and my tears were screaming "Cowabunga" as they jumped out of my face. That's what this episode was to me.
You might have been a little more hyped than I was, but I was still like,
yeah. Well, granted, for me, like on my scale, and that's kind of why I do a lot of the hype videos that I do, because it's very easy for me to, I love your shirt. It matches my coffee cup. Yes. That's awesome. All right. So this episode was called The Heiress, and I love that I'm going to say this every time. I love that they don't tell you the episode names ahead of time because they try to keep all the spoilers really close to their chest, which is very much a good thing. So we start off, everybody's still asleep. We kind of, they're kind of coasting into this planet, and it's nice that he got a little bit of quiet, and all of a sudden he's got to land, and he realizes, wait, all the damage we took, it's going to be a little problematic, right? Mm-hmm. I'll admit, like, he asks Frog Lady, apparently her name was Frog Lady, like, to hold, like, this part of the controls, and she keeps looking back at her eggs. Am I the only one that was like, whoa, what's going on here? Are we going to have Baby Yoda attack the eggs again?
Honestly, I was just immediately distracted by the ending of that scene, which was
it gets a little bit
the ship almost there.
That was honestly it was a kind of an intense scene, right? You get to look at some of the people on the ground. You got this awesome Mon Cala, which you were telling me something a little bit about.
Oh yeah, here's a little bit of Star Wars trivia for you. This Mon Cala mechanic actually is
she played a certain
Janina Gavankar,
yes,
who played Eden Versio in Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
The story goes that she showed up on the scene where they're filming this episode, and David Filione's like, "What the heck are you doing here?" And she goes, "Oh, the Mon Cal puppet requires two people, and the guy who's in charge of manning it asked me to come in and help him man the mouth." So we've got Eden Versio's actress, at the very least, in this very clip here.
I'm not gonna lie, I was already you told me about this and I didn't believe you. I was like, I was surprised because I usually I try to stay up to speed on a lot of these things, and that one caught me off guard, so I looked it up, and sure enough it's true. And I mean, not that I'm saying you're a liar, it's just sometimes you're like, whoa, I want to like find out what and I feel like there's more to that story than is published.
I'm secretly hoping that there's more to that story because that would be pretty cool.
So if you guys have seen, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, and just for one little tidbit is that we know that the city he's going to next is called Corvus. And doesn't Iden Versio kind of have a certain little ship with a name called Corvus? Coincidence?
So maybe it wasn't so much what are you doing here as a why are you here today?
Yeah, exactly. Like why do you have that remote control when you should be shining up your
You're not going to be in the you're not supposed to be in any of these scenes. This is not supposed to be this is not supposed to be spoiler time.
Yeah. Well, like a year ago when they were first starting to film season 2, there was like this this fake little sheet that came out of like, oh, these are all the people that are going to be in season 2, and she was on that list, and somebody's like, is this for real? And she's just like, I remember her tweeting something like, you'll have to ask Dave Filoni, and I was like, all right,
maybe that was the other option is though maybe that was the inside joke, like, here I am.
Maybe
there's the joke.
Maybe it is. That's either way.
You have to ask Dave Filoni.
Either way, I love her. She's a really big Star Wars fan. She's super cool, and I also like Iden Versio as a character. But Janina Gavankar is awesome. I'm a big fan. But yes, we get to that awesome scene chronologically now, where the ship almost lands and kind of falls over, and that's kind of where they roll the credits, and it's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing.
That's like right up there with Luke Skywalker getting the lightsaber and being like,
"What does this do?"
It's just a delightful fake out.
Exactly. Which we then shortly see a new type of walker. Which honestly, I watch a lot of these with a gamer's point of view, and I'm always looking for things. Hey, what can show up on my tabletop or at some point, but. I saw this thing. I'm like, I don't see a spot for this giant like crane walker on my tabletop. But like, I feel like we need to make a new game that fits in. Call it like Search and Rescue or something like that. But no, a very very cool looking design.
I'd play Star Wars Search and Rescue
with Janina Gavankar, maybe. No. All right. So we get a really nice look at this kind of Quarren Mon Calamari town. We're seeing Quarren and Mon Cala. So I thought this was pretty cool. It looks like it's like almost a direct settlement to since the two races were big in the Clone Wars and both on the same planet. Just a really good kind of aesthetic. And we get I think the cutest, most sweetest romantic scene in all of Star Wars with Mama and Papa Frog kind of running in like slow motion. I loved this scene. I don't know. It was the squeal too of Mama Frog. I loved it. We even saw 2 frogs from the chat. Yep. You definitely did. That was really cute. So I like that. You get a little spoiler of Sasha Banks's character. This was from the trailer too, kind of spying, and then she disappears. Did you have any kind of predispositions on who you thought this might have been? Like a lot of people were thinking that this was supposed to be Sabine or something like that.
I had my guesses. I'm always hoping for Rebels to show up, but
yeah.
I
don't know. I had heard a theory that it was one of those sisters from Clone Wars season 7. Because I was expecting an Ahsoka tie-in. I thought it was going to be this episode. I thought we were going to see her.
That would have been something.
I mean, they could still do that. They can do that in the future. There's no reason why they can't. But you got some people saying hi to you in chat. So
hello, whoever's saying hello to me in chat.
Wolf58 says hi. Of course, Chris.
Oh yeah, Wolf, I know you.
And Chris Fritz. He says he loves you. And I'm going through the chat now. Sorry, I missed.
I love you too, Truthy.
Yes. So the chat is very very happy to see. They love the mustache too, which is a very impressive mustache.
As well you should. I say this: COVID-19 has been a disaster because I've always got to have a mask on and.
I know. Yes, and
I'm known by the mustache. Dang it!
So I still go to work, and we all wear masks and everything. And I saw somebody having a cigarette outside the other day, and I saw their face, and I was like, I haven't seen your face all year. You're so beautiful, And he said, "Get the hell away from me, man." I'm like, I don't really think that you're beautiful. I just, but so we go inside. We're in this little Mon Calamari cantina, and kind of a nice little throwback to early in the
Mon Cala credits making their reemergence.
The calamari flan, which like I can't believe those aren't moldy by now or whatever. But so he gets some information. I honestly, like, I'm starting to get frustrated with this because he wants to find a Mandalorian, and everywhere he goes is just somebody else who's like, yeah, I know where to point you to find a Mandalorian. Like, this is I think how you get into business in the Star Wars galaxy. Just like we set up a circle. Like, I point to you, you point to somebody else, and they point back to me, and then we just keep pointing to other people and collecting like 5,000 credits at a time. It's just it's brilliant.
And then whoever you keep pointing to finally points out into the dunes somewhere, and then you ambush them and take their armor.
It's how it works. At this point, like, this dude shouldn't be trusting anybody, right? Like, that's definitely a theme they're going with. And then, of course, as Baby Yoda shouldn't be trusting his food because we get another alien reference, like a straight up face hugger. This was honestly, like, this was cute, but I think it would have had more of an impact if we didn't have like this terror episode last episode. But it was still kind of cute. I like the aliens reference. So we get a Mon Cala who comes over there, and again, same thing. Oh yes, I know where we can find your people, but it's going to cost you. Like, this is 3 people in a row that don't have an answer for him, that are just want more money. So, but he takes it. And we get our little boat scene. And now this was also from the trailer. At this point, I think like the episode had been going kind of reasonable at this point, like nothing super crazy, but this is where it starts to get good.
Here we get the action.
The action comes in, and of course this guy just does a whop on Baby Yoda to throw him straight into the pit. And I don't know. Did you see this coming? Was this a little bit too broadcasted? Because I didn't see it coming, and I feel like I should have.
For being a classic betrayal, it definitely came almost out of nowhere. I didn't. I was like, okay, what cool puppet are they going to show us? And then all of a sudden, it's a fight. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't really see them trying to take on. Yeah. And they had a good plan too. I'll give them that.
No, the plan was brilliant. It was smart. They knew they did a little bit of their homework on this. That's for sure. But I know, like, the Quarren are like almost always portrayed as villains, and like, oh, these guys seem kind of nice. They kind of seem like fishermen or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have trusted them. I feel like this show is so racist, or speciesist. Is that what you would call it? Like,
it's playing up the stereotype.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the Quarren. You never get the.
Yeah.
I feel like we had a heroic Quarren in one of the X-wing series, and I'm trying to think if there's been any other ones.
But is that even canon anymore?
That's not canon anymore. Yeah. I don't know if there's any new canon Quarren heroes.
We need a Quarren
but
Jedi.
New canon's kind of new. Yeah, Quarren Jedi would be pretty sweet.
That would be pretty cool, especially
for the High Republic.
If he could hold lightsabers in his his Cthulhu tentacles.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here.
Hey, it's new canon.
I'm still thinking of the guy from really old canon that had lightsabers like poking out of every part of him.
Oh my!
We don't need to go to that again.
When you say every part, I'm thinking we could do some really weird things with that. Now, some people were thinking that that he ate Baby Yoda, but like, he did actually close the child. He did actually close his little container right before he gets kind of swallowed up. So at least he's going to be okay. But this thing is the Malachor, I think he called this thing. It's pretty scary, looking. Mando dives in right after it. They trap him, and then of course the trap is sprung, and they're hammering him down. At this point, my anxiety's rising because like Baby Yoda's being eaten, dude's like almost drowning, and I'm like, oh no, he's not going to get to where he's going to go. They took his money, and he's still not going to find the Mandalorians. And then the music changes, and this is where I'm going to get emotional trying to the Marmacore. Thank you, Mamacore. Mamacore. Does it mean there's a daddy core? The chat said it was a Mamacore. I mispronounced it. But no, the music changes, and we see the Mandalorians show up, and it's so exciting. I started like I don't know, like the music has been really good here. The sound, the score is great and everything, but like the timing of everything is amazing. But my question for you is like, did you catch on to who this was right at the beginning, or did you have to?
Not instantaneously. No, it took the helmet off. It took the helmet off reveal to be like,
yes. I at a certain point when they kind of like all the fighting happens. And I was losing it. Like I didn't even realize how many Mandalorian. I thought there were more because I was kind of seeing blurry. I was just like like a little like straight up like a kid on Christmas morning. But it's at this point where she kind of extends the hand, and I'm like, wait, that helmet looks familiar. I think that's Bo-Katan. And I love this particular scene also because this mirrors his memory when he was a little kid. And like Death Watch kind of grabbed him. It was almost the same scene. Somebody else actually did like a side by side comparison, and I think it was shot deliberately for that purpose. It was very cool. And then you get a little bit of introductions. Now this much is pretty interesting because it was just the three of them. I really liked this because you're getting some introductions, and like you get a little bit of backstory here, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's something else that had been said twice at this point. There's a word that they said is called dank ferric. I don't know if you caught this, but like as I watched it a second time through. Actually, I watched it 3 times this weekend, but I didn't catch it the first time. I thought it was somebody's name. I think that's like a Mandalorian curse word. Like almost like frack from Battlestar Galactica or whatever. I don't know.
Funny that you should mention Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, it's almost like there's like a connection here that's getting ready to jump out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course they take the helmets off, and instantly like Mando's posture changes. He was like sitting down, catching his breath. He's like, "Thank you so much. You saved my son." And they were so kind about it too. She's like, "Relax, we've got this, brother." And I was just like, "Oh, they're instantly just awesome." And then the one of them he instantly stands up, and he's just like, "Where did you get that armor?" And now we got problems. Dude's like, he's one of them, and now it's like, oh, are we going to get like the whole backstory? I thought this was kind of interesting. I don't know.
Enough of the backstory.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of giving you just enough, right? So we get a little bit about that they're a cult of zealots or descendants, child of the Watch is what they called them. Now, I don't know if that's like, is that making you think of anything like, or like, because it reminded me of Game of Thrones a little bit, like the Night's Watch, but Death Watch saved him, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably some, a derivative of Death Watch.
It definitely explains why his Mandalorian hasn't really felt like the Mandalorians that we've known in the past, who are more than happy to take off their helmets if they need to.
Exactly. This is like they're trying to establish the ancient way, and I feel like that kind of has a lot of synergy to Death Watch in the Clone Wars when we first kind of meet them. That they weren't happy with Mandalore being at peace. They wanted to go back to the warrior type of culture, and that's kind of evolved into what Mandalorian is right now. Although there were differences, right? Because Death Watch would still take off their helmets. So I think the audience really wanted some answers, and this kind of gave them some. So that was
some kind of. So everything has its own place within the broader canon.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Nothing is a retcon. Everything is fine.
We can explain it all. Just suspend your disbelief. There is the Force, and there's magic, so we've got that. And then Mando's not happy with their explanation. He's not willing to accept it, so he kind of flies off, gets instantly ambushed by this Quarren, who's like, "You killed my brother." I'm like, how did you know what happened? Like, that happened 2 miles offshore.
Well, he was in on it, and Mando came back, and his brother didn't.
Oh, yeah, he was on it. So this guy deserved he deserved what was coming to him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he must have known about the ambush. How else would he have been on top of things?
That feeds my suspicions that all Quarren are jerks. So we'll see. But you know what? The same three, they show up again, and they kick some butt. And dude, I love the way she handled this too. She's like, "He didn't kill your brother, I did." It was so great. And then they just lay waste to this entire place. Like, "Hey, can we buy you a drink?" It's like It was so cool. It's like, this is the second time where I was just like, I started like, my hype overwhelmed, and I started tearing up on this scene too. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're not going to let him go without winning him over. Yeah, so I was a big fan of that. I caught something else here, and I'm curious if you did too. There was a theme at this point in this episode of like people eating with and showing them slurping up the worms out of their mouth. Like, this happens multiple times in this episode. And I feel like that was deliberate, like it was a throwback to another movie or something like that. But it was definitely like
just showing. I think maybe just highlighting the alienness of Star Wars in a scene with nothing but humans.
Definitely was very alien. But I think in each time, like, Baby Yoda's been hungry too. He's trying to get a good meal. Like, he can't eat frogs anymore too. I feel like there was a little mini arc for Baby Yoda, like wanting to finally get that good meal, which we'll see later on.
He got a little bit of a spider snack.
He did. He did. This little dude will eat anything. Anything. All right. I wouldn't let him babysit my kids. All right, so they let him in on the plan that there's a Gazanti leaving, and it's got some old Mandalorian weapons it's taken back, and so this is where the Armada player in us is like, oh, ships, capital ships, yes. I didn't think we were gonna get
the smallest capital ship and only one of a 2-ship flotilla, but whatever. It's a capital ship.
It's something, right? Exactly. And boy, this thing was beautiful too. Like at first we get the long distance shot of it, and it looked kind of like we would expect from there, but we'll get some up close shots of it later, and they really greebled the hell out of this thing. So
it looks hot.
It looks really good. Baby Yoda kind of gets left at at the frogs. They're watching him now. He's like, don't do any of that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. I wonder if Mama Frog if she's wise to what happened, or if she even cares, because people were really mad about this. People were really upset that Baby Yoda ate eggs, and I get that, like, they looked at it as genocide or whatever. I just looked at it as like they were unfertilized, so it wasn't that big of a. He was still being naughty, but I wasn't really outraged about it. But to each their own.
I expected him to eventually get in more trouble than he did.
He did. I expected that as well. But on a different turn,
ends well.
It does. I feel like there was a point, like, it wasn't building to him getting chastised, but I think it was building to him, like, learning about the circle of life, because he sees this frog being born, and he's like, oh, I shouldn't have been eating these. I feel like he's learning about consequences a little bit.
It did make me realize one thing, though, and that is that it's entirely possible that on Dagobah, Yoda was the alpha predator of that swamp.
You didn't see any frogs on Dagobah. Like, there were snakes and other things, but there were no frogs around there. There were nothing left.
You do see a mystery stew, that's for sure.
How you get so big eating food of this kind?
And why did Yoda, like, not be like, oh, Master Yoda, I remember you. Like, Yoda's fighting with him the whole time. I'm like, what the heck is going on with you? I don't know how they've explained that one. I just simply don't know. Okay, so fast forward to the Gazanti. This thing is gorgeous, and this is like, I feel like we need retcons of all. Woo! Now that Atomic Mass Games has Armada, they can resculpt. They have a dedicated miniatures, right? They can resculpt the Gazantis. We can get Grievous.
That would be a pretty sweet.
I mean, if
like,
you look at
limited edition upgrade, like.
Oh my god!
It might cause me to buy. So I may, in fact, own 5 Gazantis from back when.
Oh.
From when multiple flotillas were legal, and I wanted to see if Gazanti Wolfpack worked. One of them is still unopened, sitting on my shelf. But if anything could get me to buy a 6th Gazanti, it would be a nicely greebled limited edition run of something.
I was really thinking about doing that too. That's why I was so mad when they did the Gazanti the rules, like, where you can only have 2 flotillas. I'm like, with all the other things, is that even necessary at this point?
Yes, yes, it was. It very much was.
I still don't agree to that, but we don't have to agree. I have my own opinions on it. And we got a super chat from Nicholas. Thank you, Nicholas, for the super chat. He says he was excited to get a great tour of the Gazanti, and that's definitely what we get. I mean, we hadn't seen really the inside of a Gazanti yet, and as somebody who also plays the role-playing game, it was nice to kind of get a layout of it. I mean, it helped that it had multiple floors, it had multiple stories, because it only had so much width and length. But if you could go up and down, you were able to get a couple more corridors out of it, and so that much is pretty cool. Yeah, but I agree with you that like a new version of this would be nice. Although, boy, like I also think they need to redo this for X-Wing as well, because the X-Wing one is in much more detail, but it definitely doesn't have like a door for like and railings for like guys to stand out on the side. So I wonder if, and I don't think anybody from Lucasfilm has come out yet, but I wonder if this could be kind of labeled as a different nomenclature, like a Gazanti Mark II or something like that.
Maybe it's the difference between the Gazanti carrier cruiser or the Gazanti assault cruiser.
Oh yeah, but that's not going to get us a whole new ship. Like I'm talking about getting us a whole new flotilla that does something different, like that can get boarded by pirates. I don't know.
Something with easier access to raid mechanics, maybe.
Oh yeah, that is. Oh yes. See. Now we're going back to this morning's Armada article with all of that. Oh, and I know you. I know. Gosh, we could talk about that for an hour.
Dooku.
But yeah,
Dooku.
See, I don't think Dooku's. I'm gonna postpone Dooku talk for the end. We can kind of wrap up with some of that.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
All right. But yeah.
Speaking,
we'll definitely come
which,
back.
I want this guy as an officer.
He was quite the professional, almost too professional, wasn't he?
He's former ISB. You just know it.
Oh, dude, who has electricity? He's got Dooku Force Lightning in a little pill in his mouth, right? Like that's how he did that. It wasn't oh my goodness, no, I loved this. No, and this guy was in a lot of stuff too. He was in Lost. He was in a ton of other things. So he's been all over the place. He's one of those guys from everything.
He's that guy from that thing.
Exactly. Well, I guess both of the co-pilots that you see down there too were also from a couple of other things as well. But I honestly thought the guy in the black on the right here, closest to me, he looks like a young Anakin Skywalker or a young Hayden Christensen a little bit. Like I felt like he could have played him, like if it just had the different makeup.
Like maybe he was the stunt double. Did you actually look up who these guys were?
I have it open right now, and I pulled it away. So let's see. No. The other Mandalorians, Sasha Banks' character was Casca Reeves. But she had, but like this all new character. You also had, what's this other guy's name? Titus Welver was the captain back there. He was just called Imperial Captain. He didn't have a name. You had, the deck officer at the back, who we're going to get to later. Alexander Wraith, I think, was one of them, and Philip Alexander is the other one. But like the names don't jump out at me because I just recognize them more from things. I've become worse and worse on people's names.
Again, that guy from that thing.
Exactly. So so we get some great combat. We get some great corridor boarding team combat, which is just beautiful here. And I love the sets they've designed. We've got really good corridors for the Gazanti. It gives you an idea of just how big it is, how much room there is there from left to right. Beautiful stuff. I was a big fan of this, and we finally get this kind of hold on. They get to the cargo, and then this guy's Kevin Dorff, and he was actually in quite a bit of other things too. He's been in a ton of stuff. Everything from, I'm looking at his IMDb right now. He's been in my wife told me something that he was in that I should have remembered that I just don't remember right now. But he's been in a bunch of stuff. And he's been acting for a long time. I loved this guy. This guy was maybe my favorite character. Well, my favorite my favorite new character of the whole episode, for sure. He's just like,
well, don't get too attached.
Really? What, do you think something bad's going to happen to him? Where do you have them?
Well, I mean, he succeeds. He locks them outside the cargo hold with the cargo controls.
You trapped them where? In the cargo control area? What? Blah! And then they're gone. Oh no, this was like just like I love the fact that they put little bits of humor in there without making it full blown Poe Dameron level humor, right? Like it's not straight up like, hey, I'm gonna tell you a joke, and how dumb was he? It's just like it's like Han Solo humor, and just like come on, I got you. You know, and
It's the bumbling Imperial officer that we know and love.
absolutely. Like this guy was just, it was beautiful. Like, I've got him trapped, sir. Right in the place, they're trapped in the kill box. We called it the kill box because that's the box where they can kill you. Oh, yeah. So, some of the chat are pointing out Bryce Dallas Howard directed this episode, did a great job with the camera angles. And yes, this guy, this deck officer was from Parks and Recreation. That's where we were recognizing him. He was in Parks and Recreation. That's right. He's amazing. I think he was also in. He might have been. I'm not sure. I feel like he just bears a striking resemblance to the dude from Billy Madison, when he's like, "I award you no points, and now we are all dumber for having listened to your answer, and may God have mercy on your soul." Like, he reminds me of that guy. I don't think it's the same guy, but he really reminds me of that guy. All right, so they pick out these weapons, and these are some awesome looking weapons. We get a little bit more exposition here too on, like, I feel like, do you think that there's a chance they're going to do a whole Bo-Katan and Mandalorian spin-off here? You know,
maybe, or maybe we just see the retaking of Mandalore later on in the series.
They've certainly left the door open to do either, right? Because they do
Wouldn't
talk
that
about.
be nice?
Gosh, it would be so good. Like, I feel like this show is just like liquid gold right now.
I'm already excited. Like, so Katie Sackhoff, no longer Starbuck in my mind. Bo-Katan forever.
Oh, she's amazing.
Why is Bo-Katan playing Starbuck is now the question.
Oh, she needs a stogie, right? Oh gosh, if they ever have her with like a cigar, I'm gonna flip. But yes, Katie Sackhoff was amazing in this, and she really loves it too. She's just so she is Bo-Katan, and she at the same time she also is Starbuck. Like, she is these characters, and she makes them hers, and it's wonderful. She's got a tremendous workout routine and everything. Like, she is, she's just phenomenal. I think she's just the greatest, and she brought that to this role too. But like the other actors did too. Like, the Mandalorians were both pretty awesome. So I was pretty.
I think I might have.
Oh, did we already cover the boob armor thing? No, I'm not. I think I don't know if that's really worth covering, but since you mentioned it, there has been some backlash on social media about how the armor contours to the female form, and I think that just makes good sense. I don't even think that's a debatable thing.
I'll admit that I really didn't even notice it until it was pointed out.
Yeah, it was.
You gotta have armor that fits.
Yeah, I would like from the.
I don't know. I don't know how much of it is
ergonomics versus. It's not
design.
I'm going to go back a little bit to where we kind of see all of them standing together. Nothing about this armor is, in my opinion, sexy I mean, it's sexy from a fun perspective, but like, it's not sexualized. This isn't like Red Sonja, like chainmail bikini armor, right?
I mean, admittedly, we're two straight white cis guys talking about female body armor, so I don't know if we're the most qualified people to truly judge.
That is fair. All I can really give is my own opinion, and I don't think anything that I'm looking at here is But then again, I think usually when things are sexy,
I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't either. So I don't know. I don't want to really spend too much more time on it because I don't really think it's a big enough drama point to talk too much more about. But I mean, it seems fine to me, and I've also seen other examples of real world armor that's kind of follows a lot of the same contours. So, that's as far as I think it really needs to go. Somebody says Mando's armor is 1,000% sexier. Well, I do really like the shininess of it. It's very shiny, that's for sure. And they've certainly seen a lot more combat. We get a little bit of a face-off here where I thought she was going to say, "I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further." Like, I expected that line to come out,
or if not that specific line, at least an updated adaptation of it. Like, get the sentiment, if not those exact words.
Right? Yeah. Like, she gave you the Mando version, which is "This is the way." You know, and she said it with a funny inflection. She's like, "No, this is the way." I was like, and I love the way she did that. Pretty good stuff, but yeah, she talks about, well, hey, look, we got to do this stuff. I got to go back. I gotta, he's got something that I want. I need to get it so I can go back and reseed on the throne of Mandalore. And he's like, and he talks about the planet is cursed. Anybody who goes there dies. And it really does sound like you said before, like we're gonna see a return to Mandalore before this series is done. But yeah, so we get a little bit of a back and forth with Moff Gideon. So he makes his first appearance in the season, and and he's they kind of, this new captain is like, look, they've taken most of the ship. I need backup. He's like, we're not getting it.
You know what to do.
Yeah.
God, what a great villain this guy is.
He is the best Star Wars villain we have seen since Darth Maul. In my opinion, like easily the best villain since Maul. He's fantastic. He reminds me. I think he borrowed a little bit of Tarkin. I think his character probably like read the Tarkin doctrine like to the letter. I think he's got a lot of that going for him.
He's channeling equal parts Yularen, Tarkin, and Thrawn.
Yeah, and with a little bit, I think there's a little bit of Madman in there. He might have a little, a drop of Darth Maul. I think he's got a drop of Maul, and not just because of the Darksaber, but the dude he's a little bit cold blooded. Yeah.
So heck, he's just like right off that Gazanti. No, we're not sending reinforcements. Just
and
you know what to do.
And what kind of fleet do you have, I wonder, where you can ride off a Gazanti? They did talk about like this ship was going to go back to the fleet. Like the captain was like, take us to hyperspace now. We're going to go back to the fleet. Which, as Armada fans, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see that fleet. Please go back to the fleet. I want to see the fleet.
How many Star Destroyers has this guy managed to assemble?
What
kind of threat is he?
My guess is he's probably got about a 500-point fleet, right? I guess he's probably got one ISD, maybe. There's supposed to be an Arquitans. I'm hearing rumors that maybe we'll see an Arquitans.
There's that promo shot.
Yeah.
The artwork shot of the Arquitans from the Topps trading card, I think it was.
Yeah, exactly. So there's at least been art of an Arquitan. But maybe for all we know, maybe that was supposed to be this episode and they changed it to a Gazanti at the last minute.
I'm optimistic that as an Imperial Moff, he can scrounge up, well, hopefully at least one Star Destroyer, maybe more.
It's possible. You know what?
A Moff should have at least a former ISB Moff that took over Mandalore should have a decent sized territorial fleet.
Have you played Star Wars Squadrons?
Yes, I have. I haven't. Honestly, I've been mostly doing the multiplayer, so I haven't quite finished the. I haven't quite finished the single player mode yet.
Well, I won't do any spoilers, but they do lead you to believe that while Star Destroyers post Return of the Jedi did become rare, they weren't that rare. So I could see him, like, he would at least have one, but I could see him potentially having two in a believable fashion, like maybe one that's like in tip-top condition and the other one that's like the spare parts one, like, oh, we had an engine blow, pull it from ISD2, bring it over to ISD1, that kind of thing. Like, I'm getting a little too, maybe a little too deep there, but I also want to see, like, having a new fleet on screen is an opportunity for them to, like, CGI in some more ships. Like, I wonder if he's got any dreadnoughts. I wonder if he's got any. I wonder if he's got an Imperial Venator that's still floating around. Like, there's a whole bunch of different cool things that they could show.
I feel like at the rate that they were scrapping Venators in Fallen Order, they should be well and truly scrapped by now.
Most of them would be, but there could still be a lot of stuff that's in the Outer Rim that just didn't make it, or they were scrapping them pretty hard. You're right. They've tried to really kind of home in on that fact. But at least the early days of the Empire, they were still largely in service. And I feel like the ones that were scrapped would have probably been the ones that, were, that had damage. And they're like, it's not worth repairing at this point. So you guys just run until you break. There had to have been a couple that, that had really good maintenance crews that just managed to not break.
Well, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see a fleet battle involved at some point in time, because after we see, here's some rebels, here's some Imperials, here's some rebels, here's some Imperials. Let's have him accidentally stumble into the middle of a fight.
Absolutely, we absolutely are. So they're trying to take the bridge after this scene. Mando does this heroic charge into like really heavy fire. I love the way this was choreographed and shot. I felt like I was exactly where the director wanted me to be on this one. Like, just like, he's not going to make it. What is he doing? And he throws them out like with this weak, this just felt so realistic to me. I thought it was brilliant. But he gets his grenades, and I thought, like, he's thinking about the child. He's not thinking about a cause at this point. Everybody else is like caught up with a cause or a belief or like calculating the risks, and he's just like, if I don't do this now, I'm not going to be able to, save the child. So I think that's what pushed him. Like, I feel like that's one of the things that makes him so heroic here. So he did a great job, great scene, and they make it to the bridge, and that's where we get that little lightning tooth that this guy had. I love this little back and forth they have too. Right?
It's a very Star Wars cyanide pill. Oh
yeah, it was beautiful, very well done here. But she's like she mentions the Darksaber too, which I wasn't sure if they were gonna do. So now like Mando has heard that name now.
It took me a couple of seconds to remember that the Mando hadn't actually seen Moff Gideon whip that thing out.
No, he has.
So
not.
He has no idea that it's. Because I kept expecting him to go, oh yeah, I saw that thing. And Moff Gideon definitely has it.
Right.
But no, we never actually saw him break it out. So, the viewer, only got to see it at the very end after Mando was well and truly gone.
My question for you is, how well do you think he knows how to wield it?
I mean, it's a weapon. He's pretty good with weapons. I don't know if he took the right proficiency feats, but
yeah, I have a feeling he'll be at least moderately proficient with it. I mean, if he carries it, if you got that thing and you carry it with you in a TIE fighter of all places, you probably keep it with you all the time. So when nobody's around, I'm sure you're going to practice, right? I would. I mean, would you? Would you be like? I mean, I could. How could you not?
Carefully.
I'd probably get a couple of sticks and practice with those first. All right, so he, she gets some information from this guy, but he kills himself. So he wanted him to kind of like vouch for them, get them access, and like, all right, we've cleared the pirates. We're ready to get our return coordinates. But he sent a distress signal. They have to leave. Before they do, she invites him to come along. Come join us, like you would expect. And he's like, no, I got a baby. Single dad. And if it was me, I'd have been like, all right, I'm going with you. You know what? He's with frogs. He's with friends. He's happy with frogs. I'm gonna leave him there. I'm gonna send a postcard.
I'd much rather see more Bo-Katan, but we get the next best thing.
Yes.
Which is a different name.
We get the Ahsoka Tano name drop. Yeah. So this is, she gives her the whole thing. Like, it's on this planet. It's like in the city of Corvus, which is really interesting. So yeah, and it's the first time Ahsoka Tano has been name dropped in a live action, so that much is also really cool. I liked that quite a bit, and we definitely I didn't want the episode to be over. I'm like, I want him to hurry up and go there now. I wanted the episode to end with Ahsoka Tano like sitting there in a meditative position. She's like, "Welcome, traveler." I wanted that, but we're gonna have to wait. And then he goes back to pick up Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda's like, playing with his new little nephew or cousin or whatever you want to call this little thing. And he didn't eat him. I was so afraid he was going to eat this thing. I was so afraid he was going to be like eat it right in front of mom and dad, and they freak out, and Mando has to kill them in front of us. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm really glad that didn't happen. That would have been something that happened in like an RPG when you rolled a 1. I'm like, just critical despair. That's
So I had a thought that I was joking around with people about the next episode, because we now know that he's going to Corvus. He's going to go find Ahsoka Tano.
right.
I mean, he knew that he was going to this planet, but it took him 2 episodes to get there. I'm wondering if the next episode is not the journey for him to get to Ahsoka Tano. And there, at the very end, he walks in. There's Ahsoka Tano meditating, maybe levitating while she's meditating to show that she still has her connection to the Force.
Right.
She raises her head, pulls back her cowl. Greetings, Mandalorian. I'm Ahsoka Tano. What brings you to? Holy crap! Is that baby Master Yoda?
Yeah, exactly.
What's Master Yoda's clone doing here? Cut to credits.
Yeah. So, I think something like that is. I think you've hit the nail on the head, at least as far as the maybe not the exact wordings of things, but yeah, I think something like that would be really good. I would actually think that she might even greet him hostilely, not knowing who he is. I wouldn't be surprised if he walked in and has a lightsaber to his throat, and like she clearly has the upper hand, and maybe, like we know Mando is very proficient in combat, but like I could see her whooping up on him really bad, and just to kind of put him in a defensive stance, and then kind of we'll have to see though. I'm really curious. He does get back to his ship, finds out that this awesome Mon Calamari just decorated the whole thing in fishnet stockings, and so now he's got a sea shanty vessel here, which it's just funny. It's really funny, and this ship is I'm sure
Mon
it stinks.
Calamari.
They're terrible. This is great. He got the Mon Cala treatment this here, and he cost him 10,000 credits, so he could have almost bought his own ship for that. And then Baby Yoda
fly it.
I'm not such a bad pilot myself. Yeah, so and then of course and dude left him some food in there. I guess when he put all this stuff in there, like there was a little a Crabbok, which I will call it. It kind of looked like a crab, right? Was this maybe a Crabbok?
It's something, that's for sure.
I'm going to assume that it was. I'm going to assume that I'm actually canon now, that I was this guy, and Baby Yoda ate me, and he got to do the little thing. He got to do. He finally
the slurp.
Yeah, and so like a happy music plays, and it kind of was like I watched everybody eating the whole episode, and now I finally get to eat, and and that's kind of where we end as he flies off in search of Ahsoka Tano, and that's the episode. I loved it though. It was amazing. We got so much.
What an episode. What an absolute delight of an episode.
Yeah, it was good.
What time are you waking up Friday morning to watch the next one?
I usually try to watch them on my lunch break, so I usually have to wait until like noon. But that proved problematic this time because people were posting spoilers, like pictures of Bo-Katan, pictures of a Gazanti and stuff like at like 9 a.m. on Friday morning. I'm like, give it at least a day before talking about this. I mean, honestly, you should give it a week.
We've learned an important lesson on my Discord, which is that after I woke up stupid early before work to watch it and started posting about it, we learned that now we need to delete the Mando chat the night before, open it up the next day as a brand spanking new chat with a not safe for work tag so that people don't accidentally get spoiler alerts until they click and accept the chat.
Oh, I see, because they were already in there, so as soon as they launch in, it puts them right where they were.
Yeah, it starts giving them all the alerts, but if you delete the chat and then create a new chat and give it a not safe for work tag, then people can't just get the alerts. They've got to actually go in and say, yes, I want in on this chat when it's time, when they've watched the episode.
That's
so
good.
new chats every
like
old one deleted every Thursday,
Saturday
new one every Friday.
Yeah, there you go. Or people could just unsubscribe from that particular channel too and not get up.
That's too much effort.
I unsubscribe from everything. I don't want any notifications, like unless I get a private message from somebody. But yeah, that's like when I first started using Discord, everybody was like, people used to use that @everyone tag like all the time, and I was just like, whoa, I've been messaged in like 10 different Discords, and no, it's just generic admin stuff everywhere. And I'm like, all right, I need to do something about this. All right, I know you've got a podcast to make, so I don't want to keep you for too much longer. Great great separatist article today. Lots of cool stuff. I did want to talk real briefly about Dooku. I have my doubts, and I'll say this. If it, and it really depends on where the meta goes once new stuff comes out, because it does seem like tokens are becoming more of a thing, and I like that they're looking at, my goodness, they're looking at new ways to make tokens more valuable than they have been, which I think is a good thing, and I think it's possible that players may for a while overindulge in tokens. You may see more token generation than is necessary for quite a while. And in that type of a meta, I feel like Dooku will be underproductive. If all of my ships have like at least 2 tokens each or whatever, you're going to have a hard time trying to get the most out of Dooku. And but that'll self-balance itself over time, I think.
I will say this. I think we might see that, but as a response to Dooku more than just for the sake of token generation. Because consider... Like, I'm a guy that likes Garm. I play a lot of Garm.
Yeah.
And my token generation is for a point. I have a use for each and every one of those tokens, and I've learned that I can't take surprise attack as my opponent's red objective because it screws up my game plan. Those raid tokens screw up my tokens.
Sure.
I need those tokens for other things. That's what makes my list my list. So I think Dooku, he's surprise attack with a little less surprise and a little more too bad you're taking surprise attack. You don't actually get a choice.
Yeah.
And I am very excited to use him, especially I'm very excited to use the Munificence that are coming with him because, oh my goodness, they're like cheap assault frigates, and
I love
it's
the red
everything
dice.
that I always dreamed of.
I am really excited about the Munificence also because they are like everything I love. I love red dice. I love the chance of that high ceiling. That's the thrill of the game for me. Is like I could roll all doubles. You know, I won't, but I could. You know, and like that one time in like 4 months of play where I finally do it, I'm like, see, it was all worth it. You know, that's why I love Architans for that reason, because I love, you know, they're cheap and I can run a lot of them and all of that. So they're going to be fun. I love the red dice. I love the red flak too. I made a blooper in that I had called one of them as having double red because I looked at the rear arc and mistook that for the flak on one of the early teaser previews. So, you know, that happens, but we still kind of do have double flak. It's just a black and a red. So that's
black and red is pretty nasty to begin with.
You can roll 3, you know, and with re-rolls and stuff like that being what they are, you know. I guess my biggest question right now, and I'll let you go here in a second, is are they going to, with the card upgrade pack, take a card like Linked Turbo Laser Towers and change the faction allowances on something like that to be only Rebels and Empire? That could be something they do when the new cards come out. Because
that is always a possibility because we don't have a lot of information on what's going to be in that card pack.
Yeah,
we have seen that they're gonna kind of update the card pack to
1.5
to 1.5 ish look. So things that have an exhaust and will have that little exhaust symbol. So
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what that card pack actually shakes out as, and whether everyone's favorite upgrades are buffed, nerfed.
Some of them are definitely getting nerfed
or otherwise.
Too, yeah. Some of them are definitely getting nerfed. So we're gonna see. You know, I've overheard some whispers that I'm keeping to myself for right now. But
I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that my unofficial mascot Hondo continues to be a friend to all. And
it's thematic for him to be a friend to all. It is across all factions, even if they eventually
across
do
all factions.
Yeah,
it's just business. It's just business.
Go for the eyes, boo! Go for the eyes. All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. I want to thank everybody in the chat, and thank you guys for all your questions. Sorry if we didn't get to everything tonight. Biggs, thank you so much. Get to that podcast. All you guys watching, stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to. I have a link down to Steel Strategy down there, but we can also find you guys on Podbean or
steelstrategy.podbean.com.
Okay, and and the most important question: what is your favorite fish?
I'm gonna go with catfish. I do love a good catfish.
All right, I like narwhals, and I don't know if they count as a fish or not, but that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
I guess I'm just hungry from seeing Baby Yoda snack down at the end there.
Oh, wait. Should it be Admiral Akbar? Is he maybe your favorite fish?
You can't eat Admiral Akbar. It's got to be catfish. Nice,
All right.
oven fried, well breaded, just so good.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching, and thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you later. Thank you, Biggs, and have a great podcast. And hopefully, Atomic Mass Games gives us some updates and some contact information, and we get some more news on the future of our games. You guys take it easy, and as always, have a great day.